Dana was late getting home from work on Wednesday evening. Troy, her husband, waited on her for dinner, but by 7 p.m., when she wasn't there, he gave up and ate some warmed-up leftovers. He was getting worried. Troy had called her cell phone a few times and texted her, but she didn't answer. He tried to call her office, but since it was past 5 o'clock, the call went straight to their after-hours answering service. This behavior was not like Dana's. If she ever had to be late, she always let him know in advance, and she never failed to respond to calls or text messages. Something must be wrong. By 8 p.m., he was really growing concerned, so he climbed into his pickup and drove the 10 minutes to her office. Dana was the HR manager for a small consulting firm and worked at their corporate headquarters in a small office park in Plano, Texas. The parking lot was practically empty. There were almost always 1 or 2 cars in the lot, but Dana's car was not in her assigned spot. He tried calling her again, just in case she had gotten home while he was looking for her, but the call went directly to voicemail. That usually indicated that either her battery was dead or she had turned the phone off. He started to head back home, but on a wild hunch decided to drive down the street to a nearby dining and entertainment complex. It was not uncommon for her co-workers to head over to one of the numerous bars for drinks after work. It was now almost 9 p.m. as he drove around inside the parking garage. There were hundreds of places to park, so he wasn't very optimistic that he would find her. But as Troy reached the 3rd floor, he saw Dana's car with its distinctive custom plate that read, BMW Girls. He pulled into an empty spot nearby and checked her car out. Nothing seemed out of place. She had taken her purse and cell phone, so that was at least a little reassuring. He looked around, wondering where she might be. Troy walked to the nearest staircase and went down to the ground floor. Surveying the area, he realized Dana could be in any of the 20 or 30 restaurants or bars in the massive complex. However, the fact that she was parked this far to one end of the garage hinted that she might be at one of 2 places that were down at this end, away from the main section. He noted mentally, with growing unease, that this was also adjacent to the Marriott Hotel. He checked the little Italian bistro first, but Dana was not there. He cut through an alleyway and turned down the side street where he remembered there was a dimly lit Irish pub. In fact, it was Dana who had pointed the pub out to him a few months ago when they were in the area for dinner. He crossed the street to approach the bar from the side to avoid being seen. The entire front of the pub was open to the street, with a couple of tables on the sidewalk. Loud music and laughter filled the air. It sounded like a party was going on inside. Troy knew the place got rowdy when the Premier League was active and during NFL games, but nothing was going on sports-wise to justify a crowd, so something else had to be happening. As he peered inside, he could see a large party taking place. Balloons and streamers decorated the interior in festive colors. A large banner hung across that bar that proclaimed, "Happy Retirement." There had to be 40 or 50 people there, all laughing, joking, and drinking heavily. It would seem that someone from Dana's company was retiring. Troy wondered why Dana hadn't mentioned the party to him. It was a simple thing. He assumed she must have been busy planning and organizing it, and it slipped her mind to let him know. He felt relief, knowing she was safe, and was about to head back home when the crowd inside began chanting, "Speech! Speech! Speech!" He was curious to see who the party was for, so he hesitated and watched. That's when he first saw his wife. She looked happy, blissfully so, and drunk. She was standing near the front of the bar, facing the crowd and waving at them. Everyone quieted down, and Dana began to speak. "Thank you all so much for this party," she said, appearing to fight back tears. "I will miss you all terribly." What in the world is she talking about, Troy wondered. "The last 8 years working with you all have been wonderful," Dana continued. "But now it is time for me to enjoy my life for a change. I'll send you postcards from southern France once I get settled. You're all welcome to join us there anytime." Southern France? Us? Troy was dumbfounded. He felt a sickness in the pit of his stomach. He and Dana had always talked of one day retiring to the south of France, and here she was going there with someone else. "One last thing," Dana said, pausing to make sure everyone was paying close attention. She grabbed the hem of her sweater and lifted it in a bold, impulsive gesture, drawing gasps and laughter from the crowd as she revealed more than anyone expected. Everyone cheered wildly. She covered herself again, blushing beet red, then added, "Goodness, I've wanted to do that for 8 years. I'm no longer the HR manager, so I can do what I want." She turned to the man standing beside her, gently took his face in her hands, and kissed him deeply, holding it for what felt like forever as her co-workers erupted in cheers. The man was Dana's boss, Mitchell Fields, CEO, president, and recently divorced millionaire. It all came crystal clear to Troy at that moment. He turned and walked away, retrieved his car, and drove home. On the way, he called their 20-year-old daughter, Michelle, who was a junior at SMU. She answered right away. "Hi, Daddy," she said. "How are you?" "Did you know?" he asked. There was a pause. Michelle and Dana were closer than mother and daughter. They were best friends who spent much of their spare time together, shopping, going on spa retreats, and being each other's closest confidant. "Did I know what?" came Michelle's nervous response. "That your mother is unfaithful, has been seeing her boss behind my back, and is leaving me for the man." There was another longer pause. That was all the answer Troy needed. "Daddy," Michelle began, looking for the right words. "That's what I thought," Troy replied. "What have I done to deserve this?" "Daddy, it's not like that, really," Michelle stated. "You should talk to Mom." "Don't call me Daddy," Troy fired back bitterly. "I'm no longer your father. You betrayed me and chose her side in this. You're dead to me." Michelle cried out, "No! Daddy, please listen." "Listen? What can you possibly say to make me understand?" Troy demanded. "Your mother retired from her job without telling me. She's moving to southern France with her boss without saying a word to me." "What?" Michelle asked incredulously. "What are you talking about? Mom didn't tell me anything about this." "You didn't know she was being unfaithful with her boss?" "No, I swear. I thought you were talking about something else. I don't know anything about this. Are you sure?" "Yes, I'm absolutely sure. I saw her with him. I saw her at her retirement party 5 minutes ago. She told everyone she's moving to southern France, then kissed that man the way you kiss a lover, not a boss." "Dad," Michelle cried. "I swear I didn't know. I thought you found out about Daryl and Mom." "What? Daryl? Daryl who? What are you talking about?" "Oh no, Dad, I'm sorry. I thought you knew." "Knew what?" I asked. "Remember the pool party we had back in June, right after school got out?" "Yeah, of course," I replied. "Remember the guy I brought with me, Daryl?" "Yeah, the guy from the SMU football team," Troy replied. "What's that got to do with anything?" "Remember how you got really drunk and fell asleep by the fireplace on the back porch?" "Yeah," Troy replied. "Well, Daryl and I went skinny dipping, and he convinced Mom to join us. She was drunk and got too carried away. He was flirting with Mom, and she was responding. I got mad and made the mistake of going inside and leaving them alone for a few minutes. When I came back, I could tell that while I was gone, Mom was cheating with Daryl. I was furious, but she was drunk and swore she regretted it. She begged me not to tell you because she knew you would leave her. I didn't want you guys to get divorced, so I forgave her and never told you. That's why I stopped seeing Daryl and why Mom and I haven't been as close as we used to be." Troy struggled to process what his daughter had told him. Not only was Dana involved with her boss, but she'd also been with at least one other person. He felt sick. He was overcome with the feeling that everything he thought he knew about his wife was a lie. "Dad," Michelle called out. "Are you there?" "Yeah, I'm here," Troy replied. "I don't know what to believe anymore." "Daddy, I swear I didn't know anything about her and her boss," Michelle said. "If I had known about it, I would not have kept it from you." The thing with Daryl was bad, but she convinced me it was a mistake and the only time she'd ever been unfaithful. I believed her. But if what you say is true, she was lying to both of us. It's true. Do you have any proof? Michelle asked. No, Troy replied. What are you going to do? I don't know, Troy answered. I have no idea. If she divorces me, she'll ruin me. I'll have to sell the house and all our property. She'll get half of everything. The worst part is I started my business after we got married, so she's entitled to half of that too. Hell, I'll probably have to pay her support on top of everything. But why should you be punished for her behavior? Michelle asked. That's just the way divorces go, Michelle, Troy explained. Unless I can prove she is being unfaithful. But to do that, I would have to have clear and undeniable proof and be able to convince a judge to allow me to file for divorce on the grounds of adultery. Can't you sue her boss or his company for alienation of affection or sexual harassment or something? She asked. I don't think Texas allows alienation of affection suits, honey, Troy explained. And he didn't sexually harass me, so I can't sue them for that. Anyway, I don't think anybody harassed your mom. She seemed perfectly happy with how things turned out. So Mom hasn't told you anything yet? Michelle asked. Not a word. I only found out because she was so late getting home and she didn't tell me she would be. I got worried, so I went to look for her and found her at Patty's pub, having a retirement party in her honor. I wonder when she is planning to tell you, Michelle pondered. I don't know, Troy replied. She'll probably wait until the last possible minute so that I won't have a chance to do anything to interfere. What kind of proof would you need? Michelle asked. I don't know. Pictures, video, witnesses, maybe a confession, Troy replied. Daddy, Michelle said softly. Yes, baby? Troy asked. I have an idea. Troy's phone rang around 10:30 p.m. He and Michelle had finished talking an hour earlier, and he had been sitting in the dark, contemplating his life and what he might do. He let the phone ring a couple of times, sighed heavily, then answered. Yeah, he answered coldly. I'm sorry, Troy, his wife Dana slurred drunkenly. I got your messages. I thought I told you about the party tonight. I've been so busy getting it set up, I guess I forgot. Party? Troy asked, playing dumb. I wasn't sure if you were alive or dead in a ditch somewhere. Oh, baby, I'm sorry, Dana replied. Were you that worried? How can she call me baby and act so innocent? Troy wondered. Well, you always call or text if you're going to be late, he explained. So, yeah, I was worried. I called and called, but you didn't answer. Why not? My battery died, Dana rationalized, and I guess I was having so much fun that I didn't notice. I thought you knew I was okay, so I didn't worry about letting you know. I only noticed the phone was dead when the party ended, and I was getting ready to leave. I had to put it on the charger to see your messages. Troy noticed the line was free from background noise and suspected she wasn't at the bar any longer. So, where are you now? He asked. Well, don't be mad, but I think I drank too much to drive home safely, she answered nervously. So, some of us got rooms at the Marriott and are going to stay here. Everyone wants to party more at the bar and then crash after. That's ridiculous, Troy barked. Take an Uber, leave the car. We can pick it up tomorrow. We live 10 minutes away. There's no need to stay in a hotel. Sorry, honey, she replied. I already checked in. You know Angie, who works with me? She didn't want to stay alone, so I'm sharing a room with her. Troy was furious because he suspected she wouldn't be spending the night with Angie. He also doubted she'd be getting much sleep. I'll come get you, he fired back. Get me? No, Dana replied. There's no need, I'll just stay here. Okay then, Troy gave up. What room are you in? What? What room are you in? Troy asked. Why? Dana questioned. I'm going to join you, he said. I'll bring you something to sleep in and a change of clothes for tomorrow. You can't, she blurted out. Why not? Troy asked. Because I'm sharing the room with Angie, she explained. You can't sleep here with her in the room. She'd be too uncomfortable. Then let her have the room to herself, and you come home with me. I promised her I'd stay, Dana replied. Okay, then tell me the room number, and I'll bring you the change of clothes, Troy said. You don't need to go to all that trouble, honey, Dana argued. I'll just wear what I have on 2 days in a row. It'll be all right. Yeah, right, Troy replied snidely. I get the distinct feeling you don't want me there. Are you hiding something from me? Don't be silly, of course not, she responded with a hint of nervousness in her voice. Look, for the first time in our marriage, you go to a work party and don't tell me. You don't answer your phone for hours. Then you tell me you're staying in a hotel 10 minutes from me and won't let me come see you. That's not normal behavior, and it is certainly not the behavior of a happily married woman. What's going on, Dana? Nothing's going on, she answered, but added nothing else. Troy waited, expecting more, but when Dana failed to explain, he pressed her harder. Are you being unfaithful? He asked, already sure of the answer. Don't be ridiculous, Dana replied. You think I'm having an affair with Angie? No, not with Angie, Troy corrected her, but maybe with someone else. I mean, how do I know you're really sharing the room with her anyway? It could be anyone. Some guy you picked up at the bar. Hell, it could be your boss for all I know. That's not even funny, Troy, Dana replied, sounding insulted. I'm going to hang up now. You're hiding something, Troy declared before she could hang up. I'm not hiding anything, Dana snapped back. I called to tell you what's going on. I told you everything. I'm not hiding a thing. Really? Because you still haven't told me your room number. Why not? Afraid I'll show up and intrude on your little rendezvous? I said I'm sorry for not telling you about the party. I apologized for not answering the phone. I couldn't help it, Troy. Sometimes things happen. Okay? Get over it. I'm not being unfaithful. One time I forget to tell you where I am, and you freak out. Do you trust me that little? Do you think our marriage means nothing to me? You're trying to deflect this on me, Dana, Troy told her. It isn't working. I didn't do anything wrong. You did. Don't act like a martyr. See, Dana exploded. This is exactly the kind of behavior that drives me nuts. You're so controlling and paranoid that you're smothering me. Smothering me, I tell you. I can't take it anymore. I need some time for me. You know, the one thing I've always told you I wouldn't tolerate in our marriage is unfaithfulness, Troy stated directly. I know. You've told me 1,000 times. It's just a stupid party. I'm drunk and I'm sleeping here. I'm not being unfaithful, but I'm not going to fight with you about it. They're waiting on me in the bar. Good night, Troy. Dana, he called out, but she hung up. Unfaithful woman. Troy stared at his phone, glowing in the darkness until the screen went blank, killing the only source of light. Dana set the phone down on the dresser in her hotel room and made sure it was still plugged into the charger. Her hands were shaking. She had just openly lied to her husband, and the adrenaline was still pumping in her system. I made a mistake, Dana thought. I should have told him about the party and just played it off. Now he suspects me of being unfaithful. Darn. She wasn't ready to reveal the truth to Troy. Her salary would continue for another 30 days, so she had at least that long before he would notice the loss of deposits in their joint checking account. Her plans were already made and put in place, and she didn't want anything to interfere with them. If Troy caught on too soon, he could create a lot of difficulties for her. She needed him in the dark until the last minute. Is it worth it? Is it worth the risk? With a heavy sigh, Dana unplugged her phone and spoke to the person behind her. I'm going home. My husband is freaking out, and I don't want him to get all worked up. I'm sorry. She grabbed her purse and quickly left the hotel room before she changed her mind. She wasn't as drunk now as she had been an hour earlier and decided to retrieve her car and drive home. 15 minutes later, she arrived home, only to find the garage empty. Where is Troy? Dana wondered. She dialed his phone, and he answered right away. What do you want? Troy asked. Where are you? Dana asked immediately. Why do you care? Of course I care. I realized you were right, and I came home. Where are you? Pulling in the driveway, he explained. I went to find you, but your car was gone. He didn't tell her how he knew where it was. So I came back home. You just beat me here. The garage door opened, and he pulled his truck inside. Dana was waiting for him, hands on her hips, when he walked into the kitchen. He held up his hands, trying to ward off the fight that he knew was coming. Look, it's late, was all he got out before she threw herself at him, kissing him and hugging him. He tried not to respond, but he loved Dana terribly and couldn't help himself. He was upset, but part of him wanted to show her he was her man. It was something primal, a protective instinct. He kissed her back and embraced her. As they embraced, Troy, body relaxing, nearly cried against his wife's chest. How could she be unfaithful? Troy thought. If I lose her, I lose everything. Dana snuggled against Troy warmly. It had been weeks since they'd had a close moment. She took Troy's hand and led him toward the bedroom. Let's go rest, she whispered affectionately. Troy didn't want to give in, but he loved her dearly. He resolved that tonight would be the last time for them to be close, and if it was to be the last time, he would make it memorable. He wanted her to remember this night, and hopefully, she would remember how much she loved him. Michelle called on Friday to confirm her plan with Troy. She was confident she could get her mother to confess the truth to her. She would record the conversation and give it to her father as proof, along with her testimony against her mother. She planned to have a spa day with Dana on Saturday, then give her dad the evidence Saturday night. Saturday arrived, and Troy was a nervous wreck as he waited for the spa visit to end and his daughter to report. The day before, he had met with a divorce attorney. Things were not as bad as anticipated. His business would not be affected, but he would have to share the profits with Dana for a year or two. There would be no alimony since she had money. They would have to split the other assets evenly, but so be it. As Dana had said, things happen. Troy sat contemplating his future when the door opened, and to his surprise, Dana and Michelle walked in together. Both of them looked upset. "What's going on?" Troy asked. Dana walked directly to him, sat down next to him, and took his hand. There were tears in her eyes. "I'm so sorry, Troy," she said with a quavering voice. "I have been keeping secrets from you, and I have to tell you the truth. You have the wrong idea, and it is all my fault. I've hurt you terribly for nothing. I am so sorry." "What are you talking about?" Troy asked, turning to look at his daughter. "I confronted her, Dad," Michelle explained, "and she told me everything. Let her explain, please. It is not what you think." Troy faced his wife again. "Okay, explain," he demanded. "I'm not being unfaithful with my boss, Troy," Dana said, trying to smile. "He is a nice man, and I love him dearly, but not in that way. I only love you. He's gay. That's why he divorced his wife. He came out and is now living openly with his partner." "I saw you kiss him," Troy challenged. Dana blushed and nodded. "Yeah, that was me being silly. I knew that was the only time I'd ever get to kiss him, so I did it. Knowing he's gay, I overdid it a bit. I'm sorry I did it, and I'm sorry you had to see it without knowing the context." "Like showing everyone at the bar?" Troy asked angrily. "Yeah, well, that was something impromptu," she explained. "Having been the HR manager all these years, I've had to be so straight-laced. You know my playful side. That just seemed like a way to let go. It wasn't a provocative act at all." "But what about retiring and moving to southern France?" Troy fired at her. "What in the world is that about? You're moving? You retired? How could you not tell me anything?" Dana lowered her gaze in shame. "I wanted to surprise you." "Surprise me? By leaving me?" Troy snapped. "No, I was never leaving you. This is for us," Dana declared. "For us?" Troy asked, confused. What do you mean for us? We've always talked about wanting to retire to the south of France, Dana began. So when the opportunity for me to take early retirement came up, I jumped at it. I was planning a big party to announce it to you, along with a trip for 2 weeks for us to go to France house hunting. That's all it was supposed to be. I wasn't moving there without you. I figured you would be surprised, but not in a bad way. Just a trip? Troy asked, somewhat bemused. Yes, a trip for us, Dana explained. We could go and see if we really want to live there and try to find a house. I was going to use the trip to suggest that we go ahead and move there because I know with your work, you can be anywhere. I even talked to your boss to find out if you could work from there, and he said you could. So this whole thing was just a big misunderstanding? Troy asked, then seemed to remember something. But what about the hotel room? You were planning to spend the night there to be with someone, weren't you? No, I swear. Angie was in the room with me the whole time and heard our phone call, Dana assured her husband. Nothing was going on. When she realized how upset you were, she agreed that I should go home. Dana pulled Troy's hand to her lips and kissed it. Do you believe me now? Do you understand? I wasn't being unfaithful. I wasn't leaving you. Troy stared at his wife for a few moments before replying. Yes, Dana, I understand. I believe you. Oh, thank God, Dana declared, then threw her arms around her husband. After a couple of moments, he pushed her back and shook his head. He opened his briefcase and pulled out a stack of formal papers, handing them to her. What's this? Dana asked, staring at the papers. I want a divorce, Troy replied calmly. Dana's mouth fell open and she stared at her husband wide-eyed. What? Why? You said you believe me. You understand. Oh, about the retirement and France thing? Troy asked rhetorically. Yeah, I understand. I believe you. Then why are you divorcing me? Dana asked, tears running down her cheeks. Troy stood up. I'm divorcing you for being with Daryl, you unfaithful woman. Daryl? Dana gasped, then turned to Michelle and screamed, You told him? Michelle was shocked. Oh, no. Troy snickered. Yeah, well, things happen. 6 months had passed since the divorce was finalized. Troy stood on the balcony of his new condo overlooking Lake Grapevine, watching the sailboats catch the late afternoon breeze. His business had thrived despite the turmoil in his personal life, perhaps even because of it. He'd thrown himself into his work with renewed focus, expanding into new markets and landing 3 major clients in the process. Dana hadn't fared nearly as well. The retirement package she'd secretly planned to use for their French getaway had been significantly diminished in the divorce settlement. Her reputation at the company had collapsed after word got out about her behavior at the retirement party, compounded by rumors about Daryl. Mitchell Fields, her gay boss and former friend, had distanced himself professionally once he learned the full story. Dad? Michelle's voice came from behind him. Their relationship had been strained but not broken. After much soul-searching, Troy had realized that his daughter had been caught in an impossible situation. Out here, he called. Michelle joined him on the balcony, handing him a glass of iced tea. The movers just called. They'll be at Mom's place tomorrow morning. Where's she ending up? Troy asked, not because he cared particularly, but because he wanted to know how far the fall had been. She found a 1-bedroom apartment in Richardson, Michelle answered. The house sold for less than you both hoped. Troy nodded. The divorce had been swift and relatively painless. For him, Dana's infidelity had been proven easily with Michelle's testimony and supporting evidence. The judge had been particularly unimpressed with Dana's attempt to manipulate Troy with intimacy after lying to his face. I saw her yesterday, Michelle continued hesitantly. She asked about you. I'm sure she did, Troy replied without emotion. She's miserable, Dad. All her friends have abandoned her, even Angie. Troy took a long sip of his tea. Things happen. Michelle sighed at hearing her mother's dismissive phrase thrown back. The dating app isn't working out for her either. Turns out most men don't want a relationship with someone who, well, you know. Troy turned to face his daughter. And what about our trip to southern France next month? Still want to go? Michelle's face brightened. Of course. I can't believe we're actually doing it. Just a vacation, Troy clarified. 2 weeks to see if we like it. Maybe look at a cottage by the Mediterranean. Mom always talked about retiring there, Michelle said, immediately regretting her words. Yes, she did, Troy acknowledged, his voice steady. But some dreams belong to the person who actually deserves them. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the lake, Troy felt a sense of peace he hadn't experienced in years. He'd survived betrayal, heartbreak, and the dismantling of the life he thought he'd built. Now he was reconstructing something better, something authentic, one decision at a time. Behind him, his phone buzzed with a text. It was from Angela, his real estate agent who'd helped him sell the house, and who'd accepted his dinner invitation for Saturday night. He smiled as he read her message. Life, Troy reflected, had a way of giving second chances to those who stood firm in their dignity when others showed none. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I suppose if I'm to spill my guts, I should start at the beginning. My name is not important. Or maybe I should say it is all important, and the one thing you can never know. You see, I was supposed to kill a man. Oh, he deserved it. Or at least I was told he did. I'll never really know for sure. I never met the man. I never even spoke to him. I was told to just do whatever it took. Walk up behind him one night in a parking lot and shoot him in the back of the head if that's what it took. I couldn't. I tried. I really did. I just couldn't do it. So why am I hiding my identity now? I didn't commit the crime. What do I have to fear? It's simple. There are others I must protect. I made a deal with the devil, and the devil will always have his due. I used to think that my life was hell. Funny that. I was just biding my time in hell's waiting room. This is the real hell. I tried to solve my problems with a shortcut, and in the end, I traded one nightmare for another. You see, I was married to, well, maybe I'd best leave her name out of it too. I don't want this to get back to the wrong people. Let's just call her the cheating woman. That's what I call her. Men are so stupid. Some unfaithful woman comes along and seduces men with ease. Then the next thing they know, they're down on one knee offering her their heart and thinking they're the luckiest guy in the world. That's what I thought. Trust me, I wasn't. My heart was the one thing that did not interest her. She wanted everything else. She kept me well-loved and happy, pushed out 2 kids, and then that two-way loving relationship became a one-sided and demanding endurance contest to see just how much I could withstand before I broke. She went out with her friends at night and came home late, then later, then not at all until the sun was up. She put a pot of stew in the fridge, and that kept me and the kids fed for the week while she was going out and about. I started cooking proper meals just so the kids could eat better. If I tried to talk about it, she shut me down with, "I'm entitled to a little fun once in a while. You're away all day. You don't know what it's like. It's just a little fun. I have nothing to apologize for." The intimacy that brought us together faded away, leaving me with nothing but solitude and frustration. On top of all that, her spending got out of control. That's what the cheating woman did to me. Then one night I came home from work, and she had dinner on the table. She outdid herself in cooking my favorite meal. After dinner, she said, "Darling, we need to talk." She sat next to me on the couch and tried to sound loving and reassuring. Her life was boring. She needed a little excitement. He would be no threat to me. I was still her number one. She still loved only me. It would be just a little excitement while I'm away at work. Hell no. I put my foot down, so the loving discussion escalated into threats. I'm doing it, and there is nothing you can do about it. If you want a divorce, I'll take everything you have and everything you will ever have. You'll lose the kids. The courts always give custody to the mother. I'll get the house and you'll pay for it. I'll get alimony and child support, so don't be stupid. Just go along with it. Besides, you've been happy the past 2 years, so it won't be any different. You just know now. I took the first opportunity I had to sit with a divorce lawyer, and he basically confirmed everything. It was a no-fault state. Even if I got evidence of her adultery, it wouldn't matter much. She would get the kids, and I would pay for her to raise them. I could embarrass her with her friends and family, but her friends were no better than she, and God only knows what her family was really like. I thought I knew them, but I thought I knew her. I couldn't let her raise the kids by herself. She was toxic. She treated the kids no better than she treated me, and if left on her own, she would poison those lovely, gentle souls and ruin their lives forever. I couldn't let that happen. My back was against the wall, and I thought it couldn't get any worse. I was wrong. I came home from work about a week later, and I found her entertaining her lover in our bed. He was younger than me and bigger in every way. If I charged him, he would just beat me to a pulp. "Oh, get out, would you? Wait downstairs. I'll be along soon enough," she screamed. "Cheating woman! No, that will not do. It will not do at all. The cheating woman has to pay." She informed me that I needed to get used to it. The motel bills were too expensive and completely unnecessary. She was going to have an affair with him in my home, and that was that. No, she wasn't. She damn well was not. Who was I kidding? Anything I did to stop them would either land me in jail or the hospital. Both paths led to divorce, and that meant poverty. I packed a bag and left, a fine lot of good that did me. I stewed for a few days and got nowhere. I finally called a friend, I'll call him Jack, who had been married to a horrible woman. Then one day his wife just up and left. A year later, he got an uncontested divorce. I figured if anyone could help me, he could. We met for a beer in a quiet bar, and this is what he told me. "What I tell you stays between us. Do you understand me? You never tell a living soul. Tell me that you understand." I nodded. "I understand." Jack leaned in. "Swear." I swallowed hard. "I swear." Jack's voice dropped lower. "My wife didn't just disappear. I made her disappear." It took a minute for that to sink in. I stared at him. "Are you telling me you eliminated her?" Jack shook his head. Number I had her killed. He was serious. Whether he did it or he had it done, I was sitting with a man who took his wife's life. I couldn't help myself. I admired this man. I leaned in. "How?" Jack gave me a long, serious look. "Are you sure you want to know? Once you hear this, there's no turning back. It's a contract. Once you commit, you have to see it through." I didn't hesitate. "I have nothing to lose." Jack shook his head. "That's what everyone thinks, until they realize just how much they actually do have to lose. Once you're in, there's no backing out." I steeled myself. "Tell me." Jack exhaled and lowered his voice. "You meet one time face to face, that's it. Nothing is written down. But once the deal is made, it's final. And if you try to back out, there's a price to pay." I swallowed hard. "How does it work?" Jack leaned in closer. "You place an ad in the personal section of the LA Times. It should read, 'Sad man seeking relief from grief.' Then you leave a P.O. box where you can be reached." I furrowed my brow. "And then?" Jack's expression didn't change. "Then, nothing. One day someone will approach you. Maybe by your car. Maybe in a coffee shop. There's no set plan. It just happens." He leaned in slightly. He'll say, "Are you?" You say, "Yes." Then he'll ask, "Are you looking for relief from your grief?" And again, you say, Yes. Jack paused for emphasis. Then, he invites you to take a walk. That's when you decide. Either you strike a contract, or you walk away. I hesitated. What's the contract? Jack's voice was calm, almost too calm. Your wife will be taken care of. Either she dies, or she disappears. And when it happens, it'll look like an accident. I sat there, staring at nothing. I truly hated her. How do I pay for it? I finally asked. Jack gave a small smirk. That part's easy. A little money. And your soul. I scoffed. Are you telling me I'm making a deal with the devil? Come on, don't mess with me. I'm in serious pain and you're playing games with me. Jack shook his head. He's not the devil, but he might as well be. He leaned back and continued. You'll be told to buy something, an antique, a painting, maybe even a boat. Whatever it is, you'll pay way too much for it. The antique will be a fake, the painting a forgery, the boat will probably sink. If anyone asks, you just got scammed. I frowned. That doesn't sound so bad. Jack held up a hand. I'm not finished. These people are professionals, but they're more like accountants than killers. You pay them, and your wife disappears. But about a year later, they come back, for the second half of your debt. I narrowed my eyes. What do you mean? Jack's voice was steady, almost too calm. They'll have another job. Maybe it's a cheating wife, maybe an abusive husband. Either way, someone needs to die, and that's when you pay them back. I felt my stomach twist. Are you saying? Jack nodded. Yes. They tell you who the target is, and you're the one who pulls the trigger. That's how this works. The only reason you get your wife taken care of is because someone else before you agreed to do the same. I sat there, my mind spinning. It felt like time had stopped. This wasn't just a one-time thing. This was forever. I wasn't just making a choice. I was selling my soul. The only way out of my nightmare was to embrace something even darker. I exhaled, my throat dry. I need to think about this. Jack's stare hardened. Yes, you do. But understand me. This is a contract. There's no changing your mind. If you back out, you become a liability, and they don't accept liabilities. I swallowed. I understand. Jack's voice was firm. Do you? I hesitated, then nodded. Yes. Now I've told you everything, and we will never speak of this again. The next time you see me, you smile, buy me a beer, and we talk about the game. I never need to know what you decide. Don't ever tell me. If anything ever happens to her, I'll just assume it's a happy coincidence. Don't ask me anything else ever again. Do it or don't do it. We never talk about this again. I thought for a time, took a sip of my beer, and said, Who do you think is going to win the series this year? And that was that about that, except for one thing. As my friend walked away, I noticed the missing finger on his left hand. I remember when it happened. He said he lost it to the lawnmower blade about a year after his wife disappeared. If I wasn't sober before that, I was then. I went home the next day and interrupted the cheating woman with her lover. She yelled at me. He smirked. I tasered him. That shut her up. I dragged his naked body by his heels down the stairs to the front door, then down the cement steps and onto the front yard with his head bouncing on every step as we went. I felt pretty good, but it didn't last. He pressed assault charges and the cheating woman testified against me. I did 90 days in the county lockup. When I got out, I was served with divorce papers, and it all went down pretty much as she predicted. I wound up living in a one-room efficiency apartment while I paid the mortgage on a 3-bedroom home, along with child support and alimony. I was kept away from my kids because I was deemed violent and dangerous. So there I was. The cheating woman had kept her promise. She took it all. Worst of all, I loved my kids, and I was deathly afraid of how they would grow up under her example. For their sake, I had to act. I took out an advertisement in the LA Times, sad man seeking relief from grief, and I left a P.O. box where I could be reached. Time passed, and nothing happened. Then, one day as I ate my lunch in the park, a man walked up behind me. He said, "Are you?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Are you looking for relief from grief?" I said, "Yes." Then he invited me to take a walk with him. I studied the man in front of me. "Are you a cop?" He shook his head. "No." I raised an eyebrow. "Aren't you going to ask me the same thing?" He didn't flinch. "No. We've done our homework. We know exactly who you are and what your problem is." I hesitated. "Do you want to know who told me how to find you?" He gave a small smirk. "No. We have a pretty good idea, but it doesn't matter either way." I frowned. "Is he in trouble?" His expression darkened. "No. Word of mouth is how our business operates. But understand this. If the wrong word reaches the wrong person, that creates a problem. And when we have a problem, we clean it up. Fast." A chill ran down my spine. I had no doubt he meant every word. I took a deep breath. "How does this work?" He leaned in slightly. "In about a month, an antique tea table will come up for auction downtown. It's a poor reproduction, worthless. But you will fall in love with it." I narrowed my eyes. "And?" "You won't be the only one bidding, but you'll make sure to win. The price will climb, but in the end you'll pay $20,000. Then you take your new tea table home." I paused, trying to process it. "That's it?" He tilted his head. "You were told there are 2 installments, right?" I swallowed. "Yeah." The man's voice remained steady. "You keep your P.O. box. In about a year, you'll receive an envelope. Inside will be your instructions. You'll be expected to complete the contract." I swallowed hard. "And if I don't?" His expression didn't change. "All contracts must be fulfilled. If you don't do it, we will. But that also means tying up loose ends. Anyone who fails to complete their part becomes a loose end." I hesitated. "Can I at least be sure that the second target deserves it?" He nodded slightly. "We don't take contracts for convenience, profit, or petty revenge. Our founders believed in making the world a better place, and we still follow that standard. But make no mistake, you won't have a choice. Once you say yes, the contract is final. Right now is your last chance to walk away. Say no, and you'll never hear from me or my associates again. Say yes, and you will see it through." My throat felt dry. "How do I make the contract official?" His answer was simple. "You buy the table, that's it." I exhaled. "It's my ex-wife. She's truly evil, and God only knows what she's doing to my kids." He gave me a knowing look. "Yes, we know. Like I said, we do our homework." I sat there, staring at nothing. My mind reeled at what I had just agreed to. When I finally looked up, the man was gone. I was alone. The auction was still 2 weeks away when I got a call from my kids. They were in my son's room, and both he and my daughter were on the call. "Mommy has a strange man in her bedroom, and we're scared. He's mean. He told Cindy that he can't wait for her to grow up. What does he mean, Daddy?" I was livid. I wanted to kill the cheating woman and anyone with her. I told them to lock their bedroom door, and then I called my brother. I couldn't go over there or I'd get arrested, but he could. He went and knocked on the door until the cheating woman finally answered it. She was angry. Who cares? My brother tried to play it cool, asked if the kids were there, and offered to take them for the night. She told him to bug off. He never saw or heard the guy, so he couldn't testify that anyone other than the cheating woman and my kids were there. I wanted to call child services, but I couldn't prove anything. Plus, I was deemed dangerous, so would they even listen to me? My kids called 2 more times after that. My brother and my sister went to the house. The cheating woman threatened to call the cops if they didn't leave. They never saw or heard anything they could testify to in court. A man under that kind of pressure makes bad decisions. I bought the table. God help me. But I bought the damn table, and from that moment on, my fate was sealed. 6 weeks later, after getting numerous calls from my kids, I had a knock on my front door. 2 uniformed cops were standing there. I opened the door, thinking the cheating woman had called them, and they said, "Are you?" I say, "Yes." They say, "Can you account for your activities for the past 6 hours?" I say, "I was at work until almost 6, then went to the food store for a few things, and I've been sitting here since." "Why are you asking?" They say, "Can anyone verify you were here?" I say, "My brother called about 90 minutes ago, and we talked. You can check with him." "What is this all about?" They say, "It's your ex-wife. Someone broke into her house tonight. We regret to inform you that she is dead." I was stunned. I motioned for them to come in, and I sat down on the couch. For a time, I forgot they were there. I just sat there, thinking about that discussion months before, looking at that damn table, and I broke down and cried. "That's right," I cried. They weren't tears of joy. I didn't laugh, and I didn't celebrate. She was an evil, cheating woman, but I felt a weight on my shoulders, the likes of which I had never felt before. "What about my kids? Are they all right?" I asked. "Yes, sir. Apparently they were upstairs doing their homework and never knew what was happening. Your daughter came downstairs and found her mother. She's pretty shaken up. I've got to go to her." Then I remembered the protection order. "You have to help me. I beat up my ex-wife's boyfriend when she brought him into our home. It was back before we were divorced. She got a protection order as part of the divorce settlement, and I'm not allowed near my kids. You have to help me." The officer's tone was calm. "Your brother and sister are with them now." I narrowed my eyes. "You've spoken with my brother?" "Yes, sir." I let out a frustrated sigh. "So you knew I was here the whole time, but you still had to give me a hard time? Really?" The officer shrugged. "It's our job, sir." "Get out." I was enraged. Even though I knew you don't hit a cop, not hitting them took everything I had in me. They couldn't start by telling me my kids were safe. I called my brother, and he picked up on the second ring. "Get your back over here. You really think we're going to enforce that protection order? Your kids are asking for you." That was all I needed. I was in the car and driving like a maniac. I got to my brother's place in record time. My kids were shaken up, but they were okay. It was in some ways the worst and the best night of my life. We went to a lawyer, and he filed the papers. Child Services interviewed my kids, and the judge lifted the protection order. I had my kids back. I cleaned up the house, and we moved back. I tore up the carpets, painted the walls, and did everything I could to make it a different house than the one where my wife was killed. I tried to erase the memories from my children's minds. I got them therapy. My brother and sister wanted me to go, and for a time I did. But I could never tell the therapist what was really bothering me. What bothered me was the calendar. Week by week, month by month, I knew what was coming. Week after week, I went to the P.O. box and checked my mail. Week after week, the box was empty. I started telling myself they'd forgotten me, but I knew better. About a year after my wife's death, there was a large manila envelope in my box with no return address. I took it to the car, opened it, and read my assignment. It said that he beat his first wife and had a fondness for children. His second wife had 2, a boy and a girl. Maybe it was true, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. They knew exactly what to tell me. His routine habits were all documented. There were pictures. It told me where he worked, where he drank, even what he drank, and the roads he drove to and from work. It even told me his girlfriend's name and where she worked. On top of everything else, he was a cheater. Last, there were even some suggestions about how to get it done. It was your basic how to eliminate a man manual. They thought of everything. They gave me a month to get it done. I studied it. I planned. I tried to run him down one night when he was coming out of the bar, but I swerved at the last moment. I thought about buying a gun, but I couldn't do it. I lay awake at night looking for a solution to my problem, but there was none. I just didn't have it in me. I couldn't eliminate a man I didn't know. With that revelation, my fate was sealed. These people who held my contract were people you could not disappoint. I knew I had only one choice. I made an appointment to see a lawyer and I wrote out a will. In the event of my death, I want my children to go with my brother and his wife. They are good people who have always wanted children. They will raise them right. About 2 months after I got the package, I read in the paper that a man had been found in an alley, beaten, robbed, and killed. It was brutal. Someone worked out their anger on him. I recognized the name and I knew what was coming. I worried about my kids and put double locks on the windows and doors. I knew I couldn't hide for long, so I did the only thing I could do for my kids. I started eating my lunch in the park. I figured I couldn't stop them, but I could control where it happened. So that was my friend's story, or most of it anyway. I guess it falls to me to finish his sad little tale. You see, I'm Jack. It was a Tuesday about a month after that guy got killed in the alley. I walked up to my friend as he ate his lunch alone in the park, and I sat down beside him. I sat down beside him on the bench. I heard your wife died. He didn't look at me. Yeah. I exhaled. Good. The kids are better off. His gaze stayed fixed on the ground. Yeah. Frustration bubbled up inside me. Damn it, I told you! I told you the contract was binding! This was a conversation I never wanted to have. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. He finally spoke, his voice hollow. I know. I thought I could do it. But I couldn't. My friend turns for a moment and looks at me. He had tears in his eyes. He seemed to be looking at that missing finger on my left hand. I knew what he was thinking. Yes, I had hesitated once. Losing my finger was the encouragement that I had needed way back when. He looked away. It seemed for a moment he was studying the autumn leaves, the burst of color that marks the end of summer and the approach of winter. It's okay. I know the price I have to pay. I'm at peace with it. At least my kids are safe and happy. I didn't get you into any trouble, did I? Not really, I said. I put my hand on his shoulder. For an instant, I felt my soul burn to ash, and I knew that my eternal fate was sealed. I put the barrel of the gun behind his left ear, and with one hard, cold tap, all that he knew was gone. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.